Hey everybody, we got a great show for you tonight. It's Saturday night. It's the last live show of the Paranormal Portal before the holidays. So this next week is going to be off with no scheduled shows, but watch for the for the unannounced scheduled shows or unscheduled shows, as it were. We got a great show for you tonight. We got the news. We've got Discord question of the week. We've got so much more in the Cryptid corner, and we'll just get to everything we can. Buckle up. We're going in. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I am your host, Brent Thomas, and this is our Saturday show. Hope you all can hear me okay and everything's working well. I think I remembered everything tonight, I think. I'm sure I'll find out soon enough if that's the case. But it's Saturday night. This is our last scheduled live show before the holidays because I'm not going to be available to do streams on the schedule, as a matter of fact. So just so you know, if you're not already subscribed, but you want to catch any live streams that I do, please get subscribed. Please ring the bell, and then hopefully you'll get the notifications. I know notifications on YouTube are not always consistent. I get a lot of feedback from time to time. It's been a long time, but oftentimes I do hear the notifications came really late. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I imagine, you think about YouTube, it's this global system, and I'm sure that sometimes they're just squirrels in the machine, so to speak. So at least then you got a chance to get notified is the best I can tell you. But thank you everybody for being here, because I will do impromptu streams as here and there throughout the next week after today. And so I'd love to have you guys check in and see what I'm up to and what's going on, but it's just some holiday get together, and gonna do some hopefully some really fun stuff. So, but some of it I'll include you with. No offense, but man's got to have his time as well. But we got a lot of things to get to tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Sheldon was going to be here tonight, but he had a holiday get together with his mom's side, so they weren't able to make it. He wasn't able to make it tonight. So it's just me again, and you guys are the co-hosts. So welcome to the show, co-hosts. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll dive into as much of this paranormal stuff as we can get to in the 2 hours we're allotted. Remember, we're on the network tonight. We are also simulcasting on TFR Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream. So there are half-hour breaks. Don't let that discourage you, though, because our chat community is amazing anyway, and I have these little videos that I play during the commercial breaks on the network, so you don't have to listen to commercials. And so hopefully it's decent music. I know they're getting a little played out now as they've been going for a couple of years using these break videos, but I'll make some new ones as soon as I can. I'm juggling a lot of things currently, and I'm just trying to keep up. So remember also, if you are an Amazon Prime person, that I was really grateful to be involved with the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization in narrating their newest documentary. I also narrated their second documentary as well. But the newest one is called European Bigfoot Walking with the Wild Man 3. And it would be awesome if you'd go over and support that on Amazon Prime. Check it out. It's really nothing, not an extraordinary expense to rent it. Check it out, but it would definitely be supporting what they're doing and what I'm doing as well. So if you want to hear my narrations along with their investigations, then check it out. And that's on Amazon Prime. So please check it out if you would. It might give you something to do over the holiday season while you're jonesing for some Portal. So Amazon Prime, European Bigfoot, Walking with the Wild Man 3. So we got a lot of things to get to here. As always, we're going to do the news. We're going to do the Discord question of the week. And we're going to do whatever the hell else we can get to, along with the Cryptid Corner to close the last half hour of the show. So hopefully you guys are ready, because I sense great things in our future. Jake says, I love break 3. That's the Bigfoot one. Yeah. And yeah, I appreciate that, Jake. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm sorry, I'm sorry they're not fresher and newer, but as you can see, it took me forever just to make an intro video, which I did now. And you guys just watch that. If you came in right at the gate, you might have seen that. But, I guess it's time to get to the news and see what the hell's going on in the world. So buckle up. Let's get informed. Here we go. Hang on. This is going to get pretty. Pretty cool. One of these days, I'll actually remember to program in something for the TFR and iHeartRadio and TalkStream or TuneIn and TalkStream Live audiences, because they can't hear that opener that you guys just watched on YouTube. They can't hear any of that, so it's just like dead air. So I just hit a bunch of sound effect buttons for the time being until I can figure out what else to do. I haven't done that either. So you can see my dance card gets pretty full. What? Hello. What is that name? Swishy Ishy. How you doing, Swishy Ishy? That's a new name. Thanks for stopping in. He's saying hello to everybody else. So maybe it's somebody we know, but it's a new name to me. So great to see you, and great to see all of you guys that are in the YouTube here, and who's over. Gemini Bam and Fancy Guest are over on TFR listening in the chat room over there. So just so much things going on here, and appreciate all the love. Thank you. All right, so this is the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, and I have gone out and combed the interwebs for you. Actually, I combed unexplained-mysteries.com for you because, again, that's just an amazing site. Please support what they're doing, because just the greatest articles and news and information at your fingertips at any given time. And they update it so regularly, it's crazy. But the first article up tonight, it's a weird one. It comes from the Bigfoot lands, the Bigfoot world. I don't know. I mean, I guess I can see the guy's point. But Let's see what he says here. From unexplained-mysteries.com, the first article tonight, Bigfoot researcher claims creature may pose a risk to human life. Yeah. The First Nations tribes for a long time, not all of them, but some of them had really terrible relationships with Bigfoot to the point of losing tribal members and abductions and never finding the people that were taken. And so, yeah, I can see that they can be dangerous. They could be dangerous. We don't know the specifics, what was going on and such, but let's read the article and see what this person is saying. Here we go. I hate this term. Why do people use this term? There's no experts. None. Nobody in the world is a Bigfoot expert. I just despise the use of that word. That implies somebody that knows just everything there is to know about Bigfoot, or whatever they're expert of, or most everything. A self-proclaimed Bigfoot expert maintains that there is a potential for Bigfoot to kill or abduct people. Does an unidentified species of intelligent bipedal hominid roam the forests of North America? Thomas Markham certainly seems to think so. I know that name. I don't remember where it came from. Speaking to The Star recently, the cryptozoologist and documentary producer noted that while the legendary creature is only said to attack when provoked, there are historical accounts of alleged abductions which suggest that it may actively seek out possible victims. I know that name. Now my head's just going crazy like Thomas Markham. I've heard that a bunch. Without a doubt, Bigfoot could easily kill a man if it wanted to. The size and strength would be unmatched by a human, most definitely. But this would be a very rare event, in my opinion. While the potential is there that Bigfoot could do bodily harm or human harm, it doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah, that's true. There are a few historical reports of attacks, but most are only after someone shot at a Bigfoot. On the topic of abductions, Markham refers to the case of the Albert Ostman, the prospector who was allegedly abducted by one of the creatures and held captive for 6 days. As Ostman lay asleep one evening, the Sasquatch purportedly picked him up and carried him off while he was in his sleeping bag. He found himself in the presence of several Sasquatch, he said, and he eventually made his escape by getting Sasquatch to try some of his snuff. That is a great story. Just an awesome story. As always, however, conclusive evidence of this event or of the creature itself remains elusive. Yeah, because it was in like 1920. It's not like they had DNA kits laying all over back then. You'll have to trust that Albert Ostman was the genuine person that I believe him to be. I really do believe in his account and what he says happened. And I think it was Tom Green that really did, over a period of a long time, quiz him and ask him questions about his experience. And always his story remained unchanged. And he tried desperately to come at it from different approaches just to see if something would change or some embellishments would happen. But Albert Ostman also did sign an affidavit saying that this is indeed the whole truth. And, that's whatever that's worth. I think it's worth something, though, because he could be like, well, you don't believe me, whatever. Don't get off my yard, but he didn't. He believed in his account, as far as I can tell, 100%. So if you're not familiar with Albert Ostman's story, you can go back to either season 1 or season 2 of the Paranormal Portal podcast. And I did an episode reading his account in his own words. And it's a really incredible story. I'm just mind gobsmacked, I guess, because he basically went up there to prospect. He was looking for some abandoned gold mines that were legendarily located in the Toba Inlet out of British Columbia. And so he was going up there, and while he was on his way up there, he had an indigenous guy that was ferrying him part of the way and said, when you're up in those mountains, be careful because, and I don't remember the name that the native used, but basically implying there was like these big gorilla creatures up there because Ostman was like, the what? And he explained what they were. And told them to be very careful. And so Osmond went up there and was prospecting, digging around, looking around, seeing if he could find any of these abandoned mines. And he kept noticing his stuff being gone through when he was out prospecting. So, and then he would hear things at night while he slept in his sleeping bag. So one night he tucked his gun, he took off his boots and put them in the sleeping bag with him. And he laid down and went to sleep. And the next thing you know, he was being picked up by the sleeping bag and carried away into the mountains. And he talks about how it was like a 3-hour up and down journey through these mountains. It was going up a side, down another side, up a side, down a side, and making turns. And it was just this crazy 3-hour adventure where he was just cramped up in this little sleeping bag with his boots digging into his back, and he couldn't do anything about it. So then he got, later he was plopped down, and he was able to get out of his pack and out of his sleeping bag and look, and there was a family group of Sasquatch, and he was carried in by the big alpha. And he looked around, there was a female, and then 2 younger ones, an older like young female, he could tell, and then a young male. And I'm not going to try to re-paraphrase it all, but it's just an incredible account, and it's Albert Ostman, Ostman. So this article, I think Thomas Markham is right. There is reason to believe that if they were provoked, or if they somehow feel that they're threatened, yeah, hell yeah, a Sasquatch would be absolutely lethal, and could decimate, a bunch of people without breaking a sweat. So no doubt they're dangerous, or could be. Now, the good news is they don't seem to be going out of their way to hurt anybody. They just seem to be going out of their way to be left alone. So I think that's the grace of the whole story, is that they're not trying to hurt people. So we got that going for us, which is good. Bill Murray, Caddyshack. All right, let's go to the next article up on the news festival for tonight. Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us Pentagon's UFO office has received several hundred new reports. Well, I guess they're answering the phone. That's good. The new office was set up earlier this year to track and investigate reports of unidentified aerial phenomena. Known as the All-Domain Anomaly Resource Office, or AARO. What a dumb name. This new UFO-focused arm of the Pentagon is founded following the revelation that U.S. Navy pilots had been pursuing and even recording unknown objects moving at extreme speeds off the coast of the United States. Back in June 2021, the Office of Director of the National Intelligence reported that 144 such incidents had been recorded between 2004 and 2021, including 80 that had been picked up on multiple sensors. Most recently, Anomaly Office Director Sean Kirkpatrick revealed to reporters that Friday, several hundred more reports had been received and were being investigated by officials. They're just in town for shopping, I'm sure. This suggests that the AARO is continuing to look at the phenomena, and that the incidents being investigated are not limited to historical accounts of U.S. Navy encounters before 2021. An updated report on these newer cases is expected from the Director of National Intelligence by the end of the year. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, but maybe. So far, however, the office has maintained that it has found no concrete evidence of alien visitors. We've not seen anything, and we're still very early on, that would lead us to believe that any of the objects that we have seen are... We have not seen anything, and we're still very early on. That would lead us to believe that any of the objects that we have seen are of alien origin. Ronald Moultrie, Under Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, was quoted as saying, "Any unauthorized system in our airspace we deem as a threat to safety." Yeah, well, it's, I don't know that we can do anything about them being here. But anyway, good luck on all that. So there you go. I guess they're still invested. They're justifying their existence. That's your tax dollars at work, folks. All right. And then, that's fine. If they're going to take it seriously and they're going to, really look into it, fantastic. Maybe they'll figure out something. But I don't think we'll get any of that information gleaned to us. I don't think that's I think this is a one-way flowing river in these regards. I don't think they're really interested in bringing us all up to speed on this stuff. They're just doing their thing. All right, so we got another story here from December 17th. This is from the World of the Bizarre category. Cows flee live nativity scene in North Carolina and escape downriver. They were not interested in being part of the play. That's why you just have little kids in cow costumes. Works out much better. Just put out a bag of cookies or something after it, and they'll stick around. The bovine duo certainly weren't feeling the Christmas spirit when they did a runner from a chapel last week. The bizarre escape, which occurred in the Seaside Chapel in the community of Carolina Beach in North Carolina, happened during a live nativity scene involving a number of farmyard animals. Seemingly fed up with the performance, everybody's a critic. The two cows fled from the chapel, jumped into the shallow part of the Cape Fear River, and attempted to make a break to the opposite bank. It wasn't long before local police officers had become involved and attempted to capture the beasts. Ooh, look at that picture. That's horrible. Yikes. When you're a police officer in a small island community, you may get some unusual calls, the Carolina Beach Police Department wrote on Facebook. Such was the case yesterday as officers from the CBPD were dispatched to assist the CB State Park Rangers with rounding up some loose cows. The subjects escaped their pen at Seaside Chapel, where they were performing in the live nativity scene. They were performing. I think they were probably just standing there. I don't think they were performing. After ending up in the Cape Fear River, the cows were eventually corralled by officers and rangers with assistance by community members and a canine with specialized herding skills. So it was like an Australian shepherd or something. We were thankful for all efforts to achieve a happy ending. Well, that's good. Glad they got the cows back. they were performing. What? Now here, Bessie, you chew on this hay as you watch intently on the nativity scene. It's like, and action. I don't know why that tickles me so. That's just hilarious. They were performing. Wow. What did they get paid? Are they in the guild? Are they in the union? How's that work? Anyway, they had enough of those terms. All right, let's get to the next one. And this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. They were performing. I don't know why they use that word. That's so stupid. I was performing shoveling snow earlier too. You should have seen it. I was brilliant. All right. I performed a nap some other days, but not today. But I was amazing. It was so convincing. It was nearly Oscar worthy. I performed eating dinner just a bit ago. All right, enough of me. Let's go to the next one. If you're ever arguing with the police over some kind of infraction, just blame the UFOs. It'll work. Because, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, motorist blames UFO on parking infringement. And this is back from April 18th, 2010. This is from the archives. But let's see what happened here. A British motorist claimed he was being chased by a UFO as an excuse for parking in a bus lane. Well, I mean, you got to give him a waiver on that, right? I mean, they obviously didn't need to be probed. The bizarre story is one that many officials have been faced with over the years. In this case, the driver was fined 120, I guess, pounds. I don't know. After CCTV footage of the scene failed to come up with any evidence supporting his claim. In an attempt to dodge a parking infringement, a UK motorist told authorities he was forced to stop in a bus lane to evade capture by a UFO. Yeah, I guess it didn't work out. Never mind. Don't blame the UFOs, folks. Not unless you got solid proof, because they're just not interested in that. So, I don't know. We got a bunch more archive stuff coming up. Let me look at the time here. We got 4 minutes. Yeah, we can get through a few more. Maybe all of them if I quit ad-libbing so much. If I just shut up and read, we'll probably get through all of them. Next up in the archives comes a story which also has to do with aliens, but it was from April 1st. And this was dated April 6th, 2010. And this is Mayor sends in troops after alien April Fools. The mayor of Jaffa in Jordan called in the troops after an April Fool claimed aliens had caused widespread panic. The joke report claimed that a UFO had landed nearby and that aliens had disrupted communications. The town's mayor, Mohammed Malihan, enacted the emergency plan and sent in security personnel to combat the non-existing threat. The Al Gahad newspaper published a front-page article claiming a UFO landing near the desert town of Jaffa. The report said the aliens lit up the whole town, interrupting communications, and sent fearful residents streaming into the streets. Well, I mean, that's been done, but I guess, imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? Wasn't it H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds? Yeah. The radio program back in the 20s, I think. People were actually like way taken in by that too, because apparently a lot of people missed the announcement at the front end of it saying, hey, this is just a dramatization. We're just doing a radio play here. And man, people were like jumping out of buildings. They were just so terrified that the aliens were coming. And so they were leaping to their doom. That was no joke. But I guess it's still a solid gag, apparently, because this guy sent in troops. So I guess that'll do it. Let's get to the next one. I think we'll have time for one or two more. We'll see. And let's get to this one from unexplained-mysteries.com from the archives. And this is woman brought back from the dead 114 times. Whoa, that's a lot of NDE. A woman from North Wales was brought back to life 114 times with electric shocks over a period of 30 hours. Oh, my God. Anne Mintrim had suffered a sudden adult death syndrome, which caused her heart to stop for no apparent reason. Medics battled for a day and a night to stabilize her condition as her heart stopped over and over again. A woman has praised miracle doctors after she was brought back from the dead 114 times in 30 hours as her heart repeatedly stopped. Anne Mintrim said she went through a total hell as medics battled to save her life with electric shocks. That's from April 6, 2010. I never had heard of that, but God, wonder what was going on. I had never heard of sudden adult death syndrome either. So that's pretty curious. 114 times. You imagine her heart would look like a marshmallow after you leave it in the fire and it turns into a torch. Oh, I bet you she was battle damaged from that. That's harsh. Wow. Let me look at the time here and see how we're doing. Nope, we're all done. Let's close out the news and get back to the rest of the show. We're going to take a break here quick too, so buckle up. right, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're having a great time. The little one's always good, Jake. Thank you. He's doing good. He's just really anxious for the whole present thing. You know, the presents, that's the big draw. And he's one of those kids that just got everything nailed. It's like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. It's like, oh, you little son of a. No, it's hardly worth wrapping him. He's really dialed into, to things a lot more than I'm expected. But yeah, we're doing good. Thank you for asking. My evil twin yesterday was Barbara Mora. Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Well, welcome back, your evil twin and yourself, and glad you're here. I appreciate it. So we've got a lot more going on here, as always. The phone lines are open if anybody needs to call in and share some paranormal thing of their own. By God, the phones are always live here on the live shows. Usually, if I remember to plug them in. Sometimes I forget to dial them up, but I blame it on my age, maybe. Maybe it's my age. Maybe it's lack of planning, but I prefer my age. All right, so next we're going to dive into a segment that we've been doing for a couple months now or better, and it's just been a lot of fun, and I love it. We have a Discord community, just for those of you that may not know, but if you don't know by now, you must be brand new, because I'm sure all of our regulars have heard me go on about this bunches of time. But if you want to get involved in all the conversations going on there, dealing with the paranormal and music and lots of other topic areas, mostly paranormal, but just come on over. If you use Discord, by all means, please do. But we're going to dive into a segment now that we call the Discord Question of the Week. So let's do it. Where is it? There it is. All right, this is the Discord Question of the Week, and this is our Discord server for any of you that aren't really familiar with it. This is what Discord looks like. These are the servers over here. Like I got Cade's Believe podcast here. I've got the Kev Baker show here. I've got Fringe FM, Joe Roops set up for his Discord, and Yowie Central, Sarah's. So right there's the Paranormal Portal, and when you join, our Paranormal Portal logo will appear there, and then you'll be greeted with all of this. And usually it starts out on this tab. This is the general tab. So when we get new people joining, so Virgil B joined yesterday, and had to wave to say hi to him because that was nice. It's always neat to see new people joining. Oh, look at that. B Mora just came in. How you doing? I just said hello to you. And thank you for clicking the link and joining. But over here also, above the general, you'll see there's a thread called Questions of the Week. And this is where I ask a question before every live show, although I did forget on Wednesday. But other than that, every other night, I try to remember to post some kind of paranormal question. Sometimes I get suggestions from all of you, which I really appreciate. That's really awesome. I've got one from Wonder Woman coming up in the near future, but yeah, it's just really cool. And it gives us an opportunity to hear your thoughts on this different phenomena, because I'm always talking on the portal. So you're pretty familiar with how I feel about things, but I love hearing what you think. And many of you have brought up points that I never would have thought of. So, and every one of your responses has just been incredible. But since this is the last live stream before the holidays, I thought, well, I'm going to ask a question, kind of a Christmassy question. But my question of the week for tonight's show is, if you had one wish for this holiday season, what would you wish and why? And I said, no pressure for altruistic answers. Just curious what everyone will say. Because I just thought it'd be kind of fun. Just to, what do you guys think about? What would you wish if you could wish anything? And I've got a million of them running through my head. It's like, ooh, God, which one? Which one would I pick? And I don't know. I'm not really sure if I know which one I would pick, but there's a ton of them. I guess I'd be grateful to have one wish, but I'd wish I had a bunch more. But anyway, I don't know. I think that's against the rules to do that, isn't it? That's what I've heard. Anyway, so we got some feedback on this, and it was really fun to read your guys' response. And if any of you watching the show now on YouTube want to weigh in, just put your answer in capital letters in the chat so I can try to see it, but it's best if you do Paranormal Portal, one word first, because then it gives me an orange box to see. And then it really stands out. But I'll look after we get done reading these comments on Discord. So Cashew Gesundheit says, for my earbuds to stop getting tangled. Oh, God, I know. I feel your pain. And for the health and happiness of all of our friends and family. That's sweet. That's a very sweet response. Very nice. Mystic Shepherdess says, to desire less for myself and to desire to give others more. Awesome. Awesome answer. That I find my calling in life and have the courage to get after it. Thankful for this community. Thanks, Brent. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you. And those are great things to wish for. Rachel says, I wish people would have the daily small happiness that many do not have. Also for myself to have more dedication to improving my drawing ability. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I think that's wonderful. Good call. And yeah, I mean, it's sometimes just one happiness a day can make all the difference in the world, especially if you're in a dark place. Just one thing to lift your heart up and make you just remember the light, you know. That's really powerful. Within says, I would wish for the awareness and consciousness to better serve the universe and beyond on large, massive scale for the greatest good and common good of all. Also, I would wish for $1 trillion. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. So that all of creation can enhance and realize its truest essence. Also, so I can buy that Chevy Money Super Sport that I've wanted since middle school. Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. You know, I've mentioned before that I had a car that was an 81 Trans Am. 81, yeah, last year of the Bandit edition. It was black. It had the T-tops. It was just beautiful. And I love that car, but it ate transmissions, and I had to let it go because it was just killing me to try to keep putting transmissions in it. And I'm not a mechanic, just for the record, so I always needed to bring it somewhere or have someone do it for me. And it just got frustrating, so I did let it go. And I still miss that car to this day. I just love that car. I love driving it. I love taking off those T-tops and having the air. It was just really powerful. Just miss it. But anyway, Lily Pond says, I wish that the silent powers that be would release the advanced medical knowledge, technically, cures and medications that are being withheld from us. No biggie, right? No, you're absolutely right. I'm pretty sure that there are things that have not been released that stand to eradicate a lot of what ails us, but it's better to treat than to cure, I guess. So, Jake, I'll get to you in a minute, Jake. Jake's been spamming a couple answers there. Good job, Jake. And Lars commented on Lily's comment, and then she commented back, which isn't really a part of the questions. But Maggie M10 says, purely selfishly, I would use it to find diagnosis and access to treatment options. And a gigantic bar of chocolate, obviously. Who doesn't love chocolate? I think chocolate cures a lot of things all by itself. Just saying. I wouldn't be able to use it on myself, though. I would try to think of something that helps as many people with something labeled taboo or attached to stigma as possible. Maybe a wish for more open minds and compassion. It could probably backfire in some way, though. I've seen Aladdin. Happy holidays. Thanks for another wonderful year of the Paranormal Portal. Oh, thank you, Maggie. That's wonderful. Batman says, theme music that I could control. I don't know if Batman's a big fan of my music. No worries. I understand. That's hilarious. Ruger Ridge says, good health for all my friends and family. Wish the Bigfoot community would work together rather than fighting amongst ourselves. And a full head of hair again. Very cool. And Paradox Fossils gave us a Santa emoji. That's cool. So thank you guys, all of you, for your responses. That's really fun. Again, it was more of a holiday kind of question because, yeah, I could ask you more paranormal-y stuff, and I love your responses, but this is just one to kind of reflect on. So Jake says, Paranormal Portal, I hope that we get lots of food and lots of fun. Amen, brother. I agree with you. Love the wishing everyone's happiness. Me too, Farm says. Very good. I wish I had better hair, says Andrea. Jake Fortes also says Paranormal Portal. I hope Paranormal Portal never dies. Well, I'm going to do my best, brother. I'll stick with it. And if someday I got to drop the torch, I hope that, maybe Sheldon will pick it up. Keep it rolling. But Pharmacy Seed says changing transmissions, even if you're a mechanic, gets real old. Yeah, it does. I mean, I did help on one transmission job, and man, it was no fun. And I probably was actually hindering the process, but I wanted to just see how it was done. So I kind of joined in, and it wasn't a lot of fun. It was just very dirty, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I was looking at. And, this mechanic friend had done everything. It was good experience, though. I can say I've changed the transmission, or at least been a part of it. Wonder Woman says, I wish that every heart be filled with the peace and light of Christmas every day of their life. Wouldn't that be nice? And that's kind of the time-honored truth of it all. It's like, don't just find this compassion and goodwill at one time of the year. That's the half empty thing. So it would be better if you looked at it that way all the time. But the half full is, thank God there's at least one time a year where people remember to be decent and try to be decent at least. Not everybody succeeds at that. Not everybody tries, but at least more people do during the holiday season. And that's nice. Whatever you observe. And I'm not preaching about any one, religious observation. I'm just saying it would be nice if every day people tried to make something better. And I think a lot of people do. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of you guys do all the time. I read your messages and all your love and support and stuff, and I know that it's coming from really beautiful hearts. So thank you for all of that. That means the world. So, but you're right. B Mora, who just joined, says the understanding the infinite. Why? Yeah. Why? There's so many whys too, isn't there? It's like, why this, why that, There's so many questions that we have whys for. And, I wish I had the answers too. Maybe we just couldn't even comprehend it. Maybe it just would be beyond the scope of our limited minds to comprehend the why and to see the universal methods at work on our very localized experience. I don't know. It's hard to understand a lot of injustices and pain and suffering in the world. That's actually one of my biggest arguments about, if these extraterrestrial people are here and watching, how could they watch? How could they sit back with the ability to help so many and just watch? And that just, it really frustrates me because on a dime. And if some versions of history are correct, they didn't just watch in the past. They were a part of the process and a part of maybe teaching people how to do things and how to do it better and gave people structure and so many things. But, the whys. I don't pretend to know. I just know that if I had within my ability the opportunity to stop suffering and extreme poverty and hunger and stuff and disease, I would in a heartbeat if I could do it all. Yeah, without a question. Because everybody's a light, Anyway, I don't want to get preachy. Sorry. I kind of, this is a paranormal show, not Brent's philosophy forum. So anyway, thank you though. I appreciate those comments and those reactions. They're all really wonderful, and it's neat to see what you guys think. Again, just watch for these. If you are a member of our Discord community, you can get involved in all these other threads that are down the sides: Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFO, extraterrestrials, cryptids, strange phenomena, even music. So there's some really cool music that people have posted in there that I'd never heard of before, but I love learning about new bands and artists and stuff. So I think that's phenomenal. So thank you again to everybody who did weigh in on this question. And we'll, again, they're probably, what is the 20, did I say the 28th will be the next live show after tonight, the next scheduled live show. There will be other live streams in here and there. But the 28th, on Wednesday the 28th, will be the next one. So watch for another Discord question of the week on like the 27th, probably after I get home. I'll post one. So anyway, Andrea says, Paranormal Portal, if you could do such, we would be like the fallen angels. Yeah, maybe, maybe. But it is hard. It's hard to see wonderful people suffer. And I've observed that myself in my life, and it's absolute torment to watch people, I don't know, just hurt, and to be powerless to stop it. It is, if I just could, I would flip that switch and change their experience, but I can't, but it's just a wish. It's just a wish, but I don't pretend to understand the whole dynamics of what's going on here anyway. Maybe those things are very instrumental in our growth somehow. I don't know, but just my thoughts. So, yeah. All right. That'll do it for the Discord question of the week. So thank you. And thank you, B. Mora, for joining. That was fun. You did it in real time. That was cool. So, all right, let's get back to the rest of what we're doing tonight in the show. Oops. Let me turn that off. We'll go like this, and I'll do this. Thank you, Lily Pond. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. Merry Christmas to you as well. I appreciate that. That'll help put something in the stocking for the portal. It's a small stocking this year, but it'll be a little fuller now. Thank you. Okay, so let's get to, I guess we can go to the article that I was going to start afterwards. I didn't know how long it would take to get through the question of the week, but now we're through it. So I'm going to pull up the article we've been working through for a while, but we're going to work through a little bit more of it. And this is a Factinate article. It's Unforgettably Creepy Moments, and we are now on number 44. This one is very strange. It's got a very strange title, but here you go. And this is Factinate.com. How to Disappear on Command. Number 44. One Halloween, a couple of groups from the neighborhood got into an egg fight. What? Aren't you supposed to get candy? None of us hated each other. We were just in different cliques. As the opposing forces started to march forward, we took off running to retreat to a safer distance. As we entered the woods, I quickly bolted behind a tree, and everyone from the opposing side passed me by. Or at least I thought. Apparently, Bill got caught by a branch and was trying to free himself. I got from behind the tree to give him a hand since he was having a hard time. Right as I got to him, he looked up, and our eyes locked. He had a true look of horror in his eyes. I asked him if he needed some help, and he muttered very lowly, "Yeah, sure." So we got him loose, and I ran off to rejoin the fight. The next day in school, someone walked up and said, "Is what Bill said true?" And I said, "Yep," and walked off. Then it happened a second time. Then a third and fourth. I responded, "Yep," each time. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was curious as to what they were talking about, but I just played along since everyone asked it the same way, as if they were finding out that ghosts really do exist. So at lunch, I see Bill walk up and say, "Hey, Bill, I have a question." He mutters lowly, "Yeah, what?" And I respond, "Why is everyone asking me if what you said is true?" He said, "Okay, it was the weirdest thing. You weren't there. Next thing I know, you are standing in front of me. You just appeared out of thin air. I know there must be an explanation, but dude, you were not there. I know you weren't." I laughed and told him I was behind the tree and saw that he was stuck and just stepped out to help. He puts his hand on my shoulder and breathes a sigh of relief. He said, Jesus, I was terrified. I've been telling the story to see if anyone else had this happen with you. So for a while, I was the source of the unforgettably creepy moment. That's by Johnny Brillcream. Johnny Brillcream. So I don't know why he didn't notice that he was behind the tree or came out from behind the tree. I don't know. Maybe it was just too dark. Number 45, blink and you'll miss it. I was in my room and at night I saw lights. A car that looked exactly like my mother's was there. I then heard the front door open, then shut. I went downstairs to say hi to her, but by the time I got there, no one was in the house and the car was gone. I live in the middle of nowhere and can see a mile down each side of the road without obstruction. And when I called my mom, she was still an hour away at work and hadn't left and didn't know anything about it. To this day, I don't know who it was. That's by Basher991. Now, interestingly enough, I can't tell you, I've covered dozens of stories that have this exact phenomena in it. And I think what might be going on is it's not so much ghostly as much as it is like a time slip of some kind, or at least a time echo or something. It's just very strange because so many people, even witnesses I've interviewed personally and stories I've found online, have brought up this very same phenomena. And it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't mean unbelievable like I couldn't believe it, but it's just one of those experiences that, what the hell is that? And I think it must be some time hiccup or something of that manner, that people are either seeing an event that will be happening. Maybe it's more like a premonition. But it's not like the mom coming home is any sort of, highly charged event. But, other people have seen their family members walk in and then they run down and nope, they're not there. I just did an interview on the podcast with someone who had witnessed this and then found out that her sister years later told her she witnessed the very same thing from the very same place. So is it some kind of weird replay? I don't know. But the interesting thing was both of those sisters saw the mother, another sibling, and the other sister. So each of them experienced the same thing, even wearing the same colored clothes. They were all wearing red clothes. They witnessed the one woman that I interviewed witnessed her mom, her middle sister, and then the youngest child all come in wearing red into the kitchen from a reflection in a mirror. Turned around, ran down there, nobody's there. Just kept it to herself for years, and then years later was talking to her sister, and it's like, I saw something really weird once, and told the younger sister what she saw, and she said, oh my God, I saw the same thing. I saw, or she heard that the younger sister had told someone that she saw one time her mom come in through the reflection in that same mirror, mom come in with the older sister, and then the baby sister, all wearing red as well. So I don't know. It's very strange. Is it a dimensional hiccup or loop or portal or peak? I don't know. Or an awareness? I don't know. Very, very strange though, whatever it is. So I don't know. I'm curious about that. Same Paranormal Portal stuff happening. Yeah, amen, John. Always stuff happening. So let's go to the next one. Do I got time? No, I don't know if I got time. We'll come to it after the break because we're just literally about a minute until the break. So we'll glide on that, and I will mention to you again, please, if you enjoy the Paranormal Portal and you like what we're doing here, please let people know what we're doing. It's my dream to see this continue to grow, to be able to do more. As the audience grows, obviously on YouTube, we are monetized, and everybody that watches videos, it helps to generate funds by watching ads or having ads at the same time. And so the more people watching our videos gives more revenue for us to do more things with the show, including investigations, which I've been doing when I can as it is. But This certainly isn't, isn't a cash cow by any measure. So referring other people, helping other people find what we're doing, letting them know, really is a huge part of our growth up to this point. I mean, I really have never advertised the portal except for one little limited run where I was just seeing, I threw a few bucks at it just to see, and it helped a little, but it's just great to look ahead to try to build a bigger show with more opportunities to bring you the best show I can. So let people know, share these videos, share the links. All right, we're going to go to the break. This is the hour break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. There's more Portal coming.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Yes, they can. Years and years and years. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 has already started. Can you believe it? What the hell's going on here? This is a time anomaly, I'm telling you. Somebody should be studying the portal because this is a time anomaly. Time's not supposed to go so quickly, but it goes absolutely blindingly fast as we're doing these shows. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. You know that in the past, our chat created a drinking game based on how many times I said, I don't know. I imagine there were so many slammed people who were just stupid drunk if they really played along. Because I say I don't know all the time. And I do it on purpose because I don't ever want it to become, to portray myself as some learned and learned individual that just knows what the hell's going on with this stuff, because I really don't. I have theories, I have ideas, but yeah, could you imagine? Every time I say I don't know, it's like, do the shot. Oh my God. I'd be just like down to like 3 viewers. Everybody else would be blacked out. Anyway, that's the portal for you. I love this chat. You guys are always awesome. In all of the communities that I see online, I wouldn't trade our chat community for anybody else's show. Nobody else's. You guys are all amazing, wonderful people, and I consider myself very blessed that so many incredible people have been brought to the portal by whatever means they came here. And so I really thank you guys for that. Yep. The word portal, do a shot. Jeez. That only works for alcohol, not heroin. Sorry, I don't know. This is how my brain works. It's a mess up here. But you guys keep tuning in for it. We love you, Brent, as well. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, brother. All right, so I got more of this Factinate article we're going to get to. I'm just getting messages from our good friend Naysay. Okay. This is not a good time to talk, Naysay. Okay. I think that's wonderful. Our good friend Mr. Naysay is planning a memorial show for Kev Baker on January 5th, 2023, Friday. Starting time is 5 p.m. Would love it if you and Donnie could pop in for a few moments or more. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I would definitely try to be a part of it for sure. I love Kev Baker dearly. He was a dear friend, is a dear friend. I'm sure he's still out there keeping an eye on all of us down here. But am I moody? I don't think I'm moody. Just some days I'm a little more stupid than others. And so you get the full spectrum here. And I just got a lot of stupid tonight just because I'm thinking about 5 different directions as I'm doing the show here. I'm thinking of what is everything I got to do after the show. And I got this laundry list. And so it's been this way for a couple days now, just trying to pull everything together. So sounds like a Paranormal Portal t-shirt. I don't know. Yeah, it kind of does. I don't know. That was unintentional. I'm just thinking about it. But no, I'm not moody though. But just a little scatterbrained, I guess is the best way to put it. But Brent's turning 12. Yeah. I'm perpetually a child. I always say that, I'm kind of old, but I'm really immature, so it all balances out, is what I figure. Paranormal Portal, please remember Linda Arnold and Carrie's family. This will be a difficult Christmas, of course, yeah. I always remember Linda Arnold and Carrie. It was a tough year. God, I guess in looking back, it was just such a heartbreaker of a year, losing these amazing people that were such a part of our communities in my life as well. I mean, Carrie was a dear friend. We didn't talk daily, but we talked regularly, and it was just an honor to know him. Kev Baker, the same way. I didn't talk to Kev daily, but I just loved the man dearly. And a lot of what you see in what you're watching now in the portal was me watching Kev Baker and how he did his shows when I watched. It was just, I really modeled a lot of what I do on the portal after watching Kev, because Kev was amazing at broadcasting, at his presence, in his engagement was just wonderful. And he was the kindest, nicest person. So it's just been a tough year. And even on my Facebook feed, and I look at Facebook quite often throughout the day. I go through and see what's posting, what's up, what are people posting about, what are any messages I get. But I'm seeing lots and lots of people posting messages about loved ones that are in the hospital and loved ones that are, lots of prayer requests and stuff. And of course, I always send my prayers and hope that can matter. But it just seems to be a crazy time, just a crazy time of change. And it's devastating to so many. So just my heart goes out to all those people that are, worrying over the ones they love and having maybe many of them lost the ones they love. I wish I had words that could make that better somehow, but I can't. I don't know. I don't know those words, but just know that my heart aches with you. Anybody going through that and having experienced it a couple times myself this year, it's just such a heartbreaker. But I guess we'll just continue on, and the best way we can go forward is by honoring them and honoring what they did. So yeah, Nacy, I'd be pleased. I'd be thrilled to be on that. So please keep me posted when and where and what's going on. So, all right. Sorry to kind of segue into all of that, but I think, as this is the last show before Christmas, I just want to say things from the heart too. This is a time that's kind of sacred to many of us. So it's a good time for reflection as we brace for another year, and God hoping it's a wonderful transition that we're moving into the light and good stuff now, because man, these last several years have been just an agonizing, trial for all of us. So I'm going to bring you some paranormal to continue to keep your mind occupied and entertained the best I can, rather than focus on all the sad and worrisome stuff. Number 46 on this list from Factinate is Boy Up Top, rather. Just need some like Chuck Wah guitars going on there. The way I read it the first time, I was like, oh no, that's not what it says. Again, immature. I lived with my sister and her kids for a few months while my nephew was a year old. I worked at night, so I spent most days looking after him and never sleeping. He had this weird habit of looking over my shoulder in the kitchen while he sat in his high chair, always at the same area above the cabinets. It unsettled me a bit, but I chalked it up to his curious little baby mind wondering about what it would be like to be up so high. It's important to note here that my nephew is a very late speaker and never said more than a couple of words until he was about 2, so I couldn't exactly talk to him about it. Fast forward to last fall, he was almost 3 and becoming more coherent. My younger sister now lives with them. On a phone call with my older sister, we were talking about my nephew, and it came up that I used to notice he stared into the corner of the kitchen all the time. My older sister said it was so weird that I said that because she noticed the same thing, and my younger sister had just had a scary experience with it. My nephew was standing randomly in the kitchen doorway staring above the cabinets, and my younger sister asked what he was looking at. He pointed, and she asked what he was pointing at. Boy up top is all he told her. So he sees a little boy up there. Wow. I don't know who to attribute that with, because all we get is a permalink, which means they don't have an attribute or an attribute for it. That's wild. Again, young children under the age of 5 are in the theta state in their mind. And I think that must be key to why that so many of them can witness and observe spirits, And after the age of 5 to 7, kids transition out of that into their adult mode or their more grown-up mode of the brain. And I don't know what that's called, but I heard theta, and I was like, because I've always wondered, why are these children seeing stuff, and why does that end? But then it was I think on Joe Rogan, and he was talking this doctor was talking about it, that, children, or psychologist or something to that effect, was talking about children's brains from the age of birth up until 5 to 7 years old are in theta state. And theta state, you might recognize that. It's also the state used to bring people into theta state for hypnosis. And so it's a very interesting thing. So what do you think of that? Could it be related? I think so. Because something changes. The kids normally outgrow that. They don't maintain that. Some people do. Some people maintain it their whole lives. And I think that's amazing. But number 47, knock, knock, who's there? My bedroom is on the 2nd floor of the house, and there's no patio, porch, overhang of any kind beneath my windows. Well, a couple of years ago, I was watching TV in bed around 2 a.m. and heard a louder than usual animal sound. It's not uncommon to hear squirrels running around the roof from time to time. Didn't think much of it, but it kept on happening and started to sound awfully close to the window and not on the roof. Well, I ignored it for a pretty long time. After at least 40 to 45 minutes of being irritated by the noise, I banged on the wall in hopes of scaring them off until I could get to sleep. Just 2 quick bangs with my fist. What happened next still haunts my dreams. My knocks were answered with 2 bangs on the wall right next to the window from outside. Needless to say, I just about lost it and jumped out of bed. Now, my living room has a bay window and is on the other end of the house, so I could look out that window from the side and see my bedroom window. I hustled downstairs and peek out. I see a guy standing in front of my house, below my bedroom window, and what I saw made my blood run cold. He's got a blade in his hand, and he's petting. What is petting? Petting the blade in front of my house. Well, I call the authorities and wait. He never leaves the front of the house, even when they roll up, and ultimately disarm and arrest him without much struggle. Oh, dear God. Well, thank God. Thank God you went and looked. I don't know if the window was on the 1st floor or it was on the 2nd floor, because they say ran down. Now my living room is just on the other end of the house. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's on a one level house. So he must have been close to the house and then just backed up with this knife in his hand. What a twisted bastard. Jeez. Thank God they caught him, though. That's some serial killer crap right there. Jeez. Number 48, abandoned ship. About 4 years ago, I was getting off work. Sorry. I was getting off of work late around 11 p.m. when I hopped on the highway to head home. Well, I got to the I-10 in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona, and this is a big city on the busiest highway they have. But when I got on, there was no one for a mile or two until I came across a patrol car driving about 5 miles an hour, zigzagging back and forth the entire width of the highway with lights on. This is the first time in my 15 years of driving I'd ever encountered something like this, and did not want to do so, and did not know what to do, so I slowed down to his speed and just stayed with him. We were the only two on the road, and this went on for about 20 minutes. I started freaking out because there was just no one else on the road. Like, was I not supposed to be here? What the heck was going on? Turns out, it was just the start of my nightmare. Just like that, the cop turned his lights off and took off, and fast. So I did too, for about a quarter mile, until I started coming across the most insane catastrophe I had ever seen. There were at least 100 wrecked cars on the side of the road and in the road. Some looked like minor damage, while some were completely messed up. I remember seats from a minivan just lying in the middle of the road. But the weirdest part? There were no people. Not a single one. No drivers, passengers, no officers, paramedics, fire trucks, nothing. It's like this huge, crazy crash happened, and they came and loaded everyone up and just left. It was like driving through a scene from a movie. Completely unreal. 4 years later, and I have not met a single person who saw it or found a news article on it. People think I'm crazy. Yikes. Well, that's bizarre. Is that a altered dimension? Is that something else? I don't know. Very strange, though. Number 49, not so imaginary friend. When I was very young, about 3 or 4, I remember having a friend named Allie. Allie lived with me, and I would play hide and seek with her in the backyard. Allie was a year older than me, and Allie loved my mom, but wouldn't stay long enough to meet her. My mom didn't believe me that I had a friend named Allie, and I kept telling her, and my mom first got a little white face and told me to stop. And Allie isn't real. Well, one night Allie told me she had to leave. So she did. Never heard from her again. Fast forward to when I was 16. That's when I learned the devastating truth. My mom told me that before I was born, I had a sister named Allie, and she had passed on due to complications, something involving her lungs. My mom tells me that it was probably all a coincidence, since a divorce was going on at that time and I wanted a friend. But I still remember everything about Allie, and I refuse to believe it was all pretend. Oh, that's kind of beautiful. I mean, unfortunately that child was not able to be there as part of the family, but still managed to be there as part of the family. So that's amazing. I love those stories. I think they're beautiful. It's just, I don't know. It's too bad. I mean, it's really cool that the girl was able to know her sister, even though she would never know her sister. All right, number 50, welcome to the Overlook. I worked years ago at a haunted apartment building. I worked with a security company that had been doing night security on the site for years. The apartment is some 20 stories tall, can't remember, and branches in 3 directions from a central hub, all the way up. This building was the last security job I ever had. I quit directly from this place because I was seriously freaked out working there. There were 3 or 4 regular events in this building that I cannot explain. First is the people in the elevators. The elevators in this building move on their own, and I was told it's part of the system to ensure proper cable tension, among other things. So at random, the elevators will just go up and down and stop at random floors without warning. But only maybe a few times an hour, so it always caught me off guard. But the thing is, on many occasions, I've heard people in these elevators, usually while passing by. There's a few elevators side by side, and when you're going up or down, you can hear the other elevators doing their up and down, rumbling around you. But on many occasions, I've heard loud conversations, chatting, like there must be 3 or more people talking and laughing. There are cameras everywhere, and all linked to a central computer on the main floor. And every time I heard these sounds, I confirmed as quickly as possible with the cameras. I had just gotten in the second elevator going up to the top and heard the elevator coming back down while on the way up with people laughing in it. Check the footage, you see me going in, and a few moments later, the other elevator opens up on the ground floor with nobody in it. The doors always open and close every time, part of the system. This happens several times. A new younger employee was hired to do the off nights at this site, and I had to train him. I told him to watch for the voices in the passing elevators. Only took about 3 hours, and he heard it on his own. He raced down to the lobby and looked freaked the heck out, asking me if people just got out of any elevators. Told him all the cameras are clear, nobody and nothing is moving anywhere that I can see. Freaked the kid out good. Now, the other main haunting of this building is the stairwell doors, particularly on the 20th floor. Basically, what we do is take the elevator to the top and then pick one of 3 branches and go down the stairwells one by one, checking the floors for vagrants, etc. It is a frequent occurrence in this building to turn the corner and see down one of the hallways to see a door just finishing closing. I've seen this so many times, it didn't freak me out at all by the time I left, but it's a regular occurrence. And yes, I've ran like heck to verify several times. The doors clearly open and close themselves and no other explanation. And then there's the third thing about the building. There's a parkade in the basement. I don't know what a parkade is, but there is a little more to it than most people know. If you walk around the entire parkade, maybe it's an underground parking lot, you'll notice at the far side there is in fact an entryway going down to a second lower level. It's well hidden, and I didn't notice. I couldn't get in there for months, but one day I did. Pitch blackness going down. This second closed off lower level is totally pitch black and was filled with old cars, rubbish, and other stuff laying around. I only ever explored it once because that very first time, basically I had a couple of extra flashlights that I just laid down and aimed off in directions. I walked around a little bit just to peek at a couple of the older cars down there, and that's when a door slammed on a car far off in the back very loudly. I could see the car that made the noise. It was half destroyed, so I could see through it entirely. Clearly nobody near or around it. I looked for a few seconds and got out of there. Yep, this place is real, and this is all real. When I pass by it now, and then I always check it out. It's such a creepy building. The atrium lobby that leads to the elevators has almost an overlook hotel feel to it. Wow. The old haunted hotel. My God. I did security work when I was right out of high school. I didn't ever have any haunting stuff happen, but that's where I think I met an angel. Like, I don't know. Just seemed to me like he was an angel, but I've shared that story on the show before, so I won't bore you with it again. Unless you want me to. No, we only got a minute before break. So we're going to head to the last break of the night, and then we're going to hit the Cryptid Corner. And the Cryptid Corner is where we discuss all the cryptozoological stuff that we love so much here on the portal. One thing about this community is I know a lot of you are cryptid enthusiasts. Sorry. Still get the occasional tickle in my lungs. It's getting better. A lot better, but still sneaks up, especially when I'm doing all the reading, which I'm doing every night I do the shows. But yeah, I think cryptids are fascinating, and I don't think many of us have any doubt that there are creatures in this world that we just don't understand. Put your story on Discord. Huh. Well, I could try to paraphrase it when we come back, I guess. But first, and I know we always have newer listeners. Essentially, it was a vagrant guy, but he was incredibly kind and nice, and I took care of him even though I wasn't supposed to, and let him stay in for warmth because it was during Minnesota winter. And one day, after about a month and a half of knowing this guy, he was outside and said he had to go, was walking down a foggy street, and something made a noise the other direction. I looked back, he was gone. So, incredible. I don't know. Lots more to that story, but that's the gist of it. He disappeared on me. So, very cool story. But anyway, I will be right back after these messages. Don't go away for the last half hour of the Paranormal Portal and the Cryptids, Bigfoots, Dogman, and more coming right up. Oop. Wrong button.
Are you committed?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and back at it. And they say, call me during the last 10 minutes. We'll bring you on, okay? And we'll go from there. But we are going to dive into the cryptid corner here and go through a couple of things. And then we'll close the show talking to Naysay and hear what's going on with him. The man himself. The man, the legend himself. So it'll be great. All right. Let's do some cryptids. All right. Just want to get through these quick so I can close a bunch of tabs. I've got so many tabs open, it's stupid. If you guys could see the number of tabs that I operate with on my computer, it's just unbelievable. But first off, we're going to go to SasquatchChronicles.com and visit the blog because he's got a couple of fantastic submissions that were sent into him that he's posted there. And this one is from December 14th, titled The Hairy Man. I don't think we read this one. All right, no, I don't think we did. It says December 14th, The Hairy Man. By the way, please check out the blog over at SasquatchChronicles.com. You won't be disappointed. So, let's get to it. It says, love your show. I was not too keen on emailing you as I tend to be a very private person, but as I listened to more and more of your show, I thought I would share my experiences with you. I grew up in southwest Alaska, where Bigfoot or Sasquatch is known to most locals as Hairy Man. I witnessed one of these hairy men in the middle of the night in Naknek, Alaska, while out walking around town back in 2003 or 2004. It crossed under some streetlights and was somewhere between 1/8 to a quarter mile up the road from my friend and me. It shocked us and we froze, gripping each other's hoodies and arms tightly. I could feel all the hair on my body standing. It was a golden brown / blonde color. You could see the long hair, maybe 4 to 6 inches, float off its arms as it moved. It crossed the road in what seemed like a few steps, but was at least in the range of 45 steps. It was mind-boggling, and I could not process it. I would have estimated it to be around 7 feet tall, and it appeared to float as it walked, as many of your witnesses have claimed. It was of lean, athletic build, and I would even describe it as lanky. However, it very well could have been larger and may have appeared so if we were closer. My friend and I knew what we had seen was the same creature of local folklore when it disappeared off the road. Oddly, we continued walking in the same direction that night. The thought of them being out there is very unnerving, and the memory sticks with me today. Later, I would describe it to my wife as a supernatural or phantom-like because of the way it appeared to walk. It definitely changed my life, and I've spent many hours off and on over the years looking into sightings, encounters, recorded sounds, and anything else related to these beings. I never thought I would see something like that, and thought the odds were next to none. Well, that being said, there's a couple of strange things that happened to people I grew up with, as well as my family. One story dates back to my great-grandfather coming face to face with a white hairy man while on the ice off of St. Lawrence Island, Alaska, where I'm originally from. My sister and her husband also witnessed a large gray, hairy man walking effortlessly upstream one summer night while camping on their boats in the Naknek River. They also felt as if it were supernatural-like in its appearance, like it was a ghost or spirit walking in the mist. I believe I've also heard Sasquatch on a deer hunting camping trip with my wife and in-laws in the Umatilla forest in eastern Oregon in 2014. The loud yelling / screams baffled everyone around the campfire. I had looked into recordings while in college, and I gave a knowing look to my wife, but did not say anything to the group. I kept my thoughts to myself. I also wake up one night several years ago at the same campsite, but during elk season, to extremely loud wood knocking and crashing. I was scared for my life as the people as the people I was hunting with left most of the guns outside of the tent, and I was not going to go out and see what was making the noise. The next morning, I mentioned it to my father-in-law and his brother to see if they had heard all the commotion, and my father-in-law said he did, but did not comment as to what he thought it was. His brother slept through it. For my mind's sake, I passed it off as elk fighting or raking brush. I have heard of other local stories / folklore around the places I grew up in, Alaska, as well, and I just thought I would share with you my personal experiences. That is something that comes up a lot, is how graceful they move. It's not like a popping walk like we do. You watch people walk and they have a bob to their head and they, their whole body's involved. But with the Sasquatch, and I have not seen this, but people describe it as it looks like they're gliding. Their feet are moving, and if you watch Patty, her head is on a plane. It's not hopping and bouncing as she strides. It's just right there, and she just turns, and it's just it's just that incredible moment. So very cool, excellent story. Next up, we'll go to another one on Sasquatch Chronicles blog from December 14th. Several strange occurrences. A listener writes, "My name is Nick, and I'm a veteran of the military from East Tennessee, who's seen quite an interesting side to our military. Just to put it into perspective, as others have done before, I held a very high security clearance with number of departments, or compartments, it says. I've gone through a full scope polygraph and have seen everything from underways on a submarine to the mountains of Afghanistan. I've worked with special forces and intelligence agencies, and I say that to say this: I've been a trusted and productive member of society. What I write to you now, though, happened 2 weeks before I left for boot camp. One of my best friends and I went camping on December of 2005. It was a vast wilderness area near Jacks River Falls in the Cohutta Wilderness area of northern Georgia. I was leaving for boot camp in 2 weeks, and it was going a couple of months later. And he was going a couple months later, and this was a trip just for us. This was a bro trip where we could go deep into the woods and be away from everything before our lives drastically changed. We were camping along a river situated between two mountains, many miles from any town or other trails, at a time when there is the least amount of traffic as well. It was around midnight when it happened, and as we were talking next to the fire about what our futures looked like, we hear an incredible splash in the river around 30 to 40 feet from us. It sounded like an enormous animal jumped several feet off the rocks and into the water. And then we heard it walking / splashing the 20 to 30 feet across the river towards us. We both stood up as close to the fire as possible and stared into the black abyss. It was distinctly two legs moving through the water, just a splash, splash, as if an Olympic heavyweight wrestler was crossing the river. And then it stopped right at the bank. I've never been so scared in my life. We were too scared to speak or even look at each other at that point, just staring into the abyss beyond the firelight. I honestly don't know how much time elapsed. It felt like an hour, but in reality it was probably 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing happened. Total silence. Only the crackling of wood on the fire. All the while I kept expecting to see something or someone come running into the light, charging us like a berserker. After what seemed like an eternity, we heard it start walking around us, the whole time remaining just beyond the blackness of our firelight. And it felt like it was within 20 feet or so of us, just remaining out of sight, intentionally. We heard an obvious left, right, left walking pattern. It sounded like a freaking dude walking on the woods. This was the end of December, and there was all sorts of leaf litter and sticks on the ground. You could obviously hear every step. It continued right past our campsite and up the mountains on our side. We listened, not saying a single word, until several minutes after the last walking sounds. We couldn't wrap our brains around what had just happened. The second major story is that actually just happened several weeks ago. My longtime girlfriend and I were camping and fly fishing for the weekend in an area outside of Talico River. We were on what's known as Bald River up around the Holly Flats campground. And we were alone almost the entire weekend and rarely saw anyone else. We also had our blue heeler dog, Mountain Girl, with us. Morning one, my sunglasses are missing. I remembered where I put them the night before. However, I write it off. Second morning, Sarah's sunglasses are missing. Once again, I think weird coincidence, but I write it off. And this is where it gets really strange. That second night, it was close to an hour before dusk. I was fishing about 40 feet from our SUV. Sarah was inside it with the Mountain Girl because we saw a couple of copperheads that day. There was zero wind. Absolutely no wind at all. Out of nowhere, a huge crack sounded out. It was very loud, and I look back and see a tree maybe 18 inches or so across, falling down like a bowling pin from up the hill close to 50 to 60 feet from us. From my perspective, it looked like it may smash into our SUV. It suddenly stopped falling by settling into the Y of another tree down the hill. I was freaked out. I honestly thought Sarah and Mountain Girl were toast. I jumped into our car and drove back to the campsite, maybe 3/4 of a mile down the road. The third and final morning was the weirdest. While we were packing up camp, a bag disappeared 10 feet from us. It was there 1 second and then gone the next. We were so freaked out that we wouldn't let each other out of our sight until we pulled away. There were other details with both sightings, or both stories as well, but I've already given you too much to read, I'm sure. I apologize about that. I've had this on my mind for a while. I've had a few other weird things that have happened throughout my life, but these are the main two. I'll be happy to tell you the details of both and the other weird happenings. I'll gladly fill you in on any questions. Wow. That's crazy. Kleptomaniac squatches. Why not? I guess they gotta have something to do, right? So, I don't know. Why not? Why not? They probably could use some sunglasses. Considering they're mostly nocturnal, or allegedly. They're seen quite often during the day when they are seen. It's usually daytime sightings, but maybe they need a break from the UVs or something. Let's see. What do we got? 13 minutes. How long is this one? This one's not so bad. We can read this one, and then we'll hopefully Naysay will call in. Naysay, if you want to call in now and just sit on hold, and I'll get to you in just a minute. December 17th, I saw a large thing that at first I thought was a large tree stump. A listener writes, in the mid-90s, I had an incident in Rosedale, Illinois, in which I believe I witnessed a bipedal cryptid. Rosedale Valley is about 2 to 3 miles long. Cannon Creek Road runs through the valley with a creek that runs closely along one side. On the other side used to be an open field that ran up to the hillside. Both sides of the valley are heavily wooded and fairly steep in most places. I was down there in the morning picking up creek stones for my then wife's flower bed. I'd walked the creek picking up stones and throwing them up by the road to pick up later. I'd walked about 1.5 miles down the creek when I finally climbed back up on the road to walk back to the van. It was then that the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I didn't see it at first, but I stopped and looked around. Don't know why, but my senses caught it before my eyes. On the hillside across the field side, I saw a large thing that at first I thought was a large tree stump or broken over tree. It was dark colored, dark brown to almost dusty gray. It really caught my eye when I noticed that it was slowly swaying from side to side. Oof. I stopped dead in my tracks and just stared at it. When it knew it had been spotted, it stood up, swaying side to side more so. We both stood looking at each other for a good minute or so. It was tall, 7 to 8 feet tall, dark hair covered, almost like a camo suit. Funniest thing was, the more we stared, the heavier the swaying was. It was then I realized I was running fast back toward the van. It turned and started walking up the steep hill with no trouble at all. I stopped at that point and watched it walk up the hill. It turned its entire upper body and looked back at once. It then crested the hill and was gone. I did not pick up the rocks, Wes. I've not been back to the valley since. I've had one other experience in Calhoun County, Illinois, where the IDNR was involved with knocks and grunts and hoots. This was also near the Illinois River. Ain't been back there either. Wes, I truly believe that it's a species of some kind of animal due to its actions. Do I want to see it again? Hell no. Where I have and where there's reports, I do not go any longer. Yeah, it's a whole lot of reality slapping you in the face there. There's no question. So let's see. We got a caller, and let's get to that caller. Hi, Naysay. Is this you?
Hey, brother from the same Mother Earth.
Hey.
Wonderful to be on.
It's wonderful to have you on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing as fantastic as the universe allows. We all know how ruthless the universe can be. But, hey, finding giggles left and right, and it's such a delight in my darkness to be able to have that ability.
Good.
But I felt a little guilty for derailing a little bit, so I thought I'd call with a story or an experience.
No, it's fine. I don't mind derailing. I like the shows to be organic anyway. If they're all mapped out, then that's pretty sterile and not fun. So I don't mind derailing.
Well, I did try to send the message during the break, but apparently every time I chat in the chat room, it backs me up like 5 seconds, and so I'm not on synchronicities.
Oh,
but this story is about my children, because you were bringing up children earlier.
Yeah.
So my oldest daughter, Infinity, when she was young and we moved into our home, she was about 3 years old. And we were standing in my bedroom, and my ex was holding her, and I was facing the doorway, and she kept staring up to the corner on my left, or her left, my right shoulder.
Okay.
You know, and then Laura kept looking. Oops, she who shall not be named. She looked up into the corner, and we're just like, what? You know, because Infinity was just fixated on this corner. And then we're like, Infinity, what are you looking at? And she said, the sparklies.
Oh.
And then we're like, where are they? And she's like, right there. And we're like, oh, okay. You know, and I was always taught that you don't diminish these children, because we eventually lose that ability,
right,
because of, social conditioning. So time progresses, and then we have our second daughter, Spiria. She was about 3 years old, and all of a sudden she's in the kitchen making a little dish of food.
Okay.
And then she starts taking it out of the kitchen through the dining room, and we're like, hey, where are you going with that food? They're kids, not supposed to bring it into their bedrooms. And then she goes, I'm going to go feed the sparklies.
Oh. Huh.
And we just looked at each other like, what? Because I can't imagine the two of them discussing it together. And I don't recall, at all either one mentioning the before, but I thought it was just the coolest thing that they both mentioned the same kind of entities.
Isn't that something? That's bizarre that they both had the same experience.
Yeah. Well, the theory, I think, is a lot more open to those talents.
Yes.
There was one time when she was talking to the bathroom light, and she was all like, because we would say, hey, do you believe in ghosts? Because we don't know.
Right.
Like you say, I don't know. I have these experiences, what they are, they could be labeled this, that, or the other thing. But one time she's in the bathroom, and then she's brushing her teeth, and we're talking about supernatural, paranormal stuff. And then she's going, okay, if there's any ghosts in this house, then turn the lights off. And she runs out of the bathroom, and she's like, the lights are flickering. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
And then she's like, I because I heard her say it,
Mm-hmm.
but then she ran out of the room real quick, and then she went back in, and 2 other times the same thing happened, where it wasn't like a light on or off, but that flicker.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so, just another one of those enjoyments of this house, and like I say all the time, make sure you put your wards up, your protection, just like when you lock your door,
Yeah.
on the spiritual realm, it's good to protect yourself. And I proclaim many times the entities that I feel in my home, minimally have I ever been nervous about them or feeling that they are a threat, because when that does occur, I'll just ask kindly, give the entity the respect of its existence,
Yeah.
and ask it to, we say mahjong. That means to go.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead, take off.
Okay.
And so we say mahjong, and you ask respectfully 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes you have to up the ante. And then if you can't find that you have that ability to ask these entities to leave, then sometimes you have to reach out to someone more talented,
Sure.
which the host here, this incredible host here, has plenty of people on his index to help anybody out there that is looking for guidance.
Yeah, we've got some wonderful people that
With
have.
you, Brent.
Thank you. I was able to infer that. Thank you. I'm a little thick, but not in my head usually. No, that's great.
Right.
So
And I
go ahead.
And I do appreciate you saying about the tribute show.
Yeah, please.
It is going to be Friday, January 6th. It's going to start at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. There is a slight chance it might be on the KBS
Okay.
show.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking to Kev's widow, Ann, about that. There's kind of some weirdness about resurrecting that. So we might just be creating a one-time stream channel for it. But of course, I'll give you that, and I'll put it in the Paranormal Portal Discord chat room also.
Yeah.
And so if people can share that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kev was and is an amazing person, and he gave all of himself, to doing what he loved and giving, us all that amazing entertainment and information that he brought to the shows every week. So he was a gift.
Right, and the Freaky Friday specials that we'd have, the long runs.
Yeah, the Freaky Friday marathon portals. Yeah, those are fun. Those are a lot of fun. That time just flew. It always just flew so quickly.
Right, and it was such a blessing that he, with doing shows with you and on the Phoenix Rising show, and then Kev giving me that co-seat there on Freaky Friday for 3 years.
Yeah.
It was humbling and such an honor, because he was the nicest guy, and all he seemingly wanted was everybody from all walks and all thoughts to come together and just have a discussion.
Yep. Yeah, he loved this stuff. He loved all the woo. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
all right. Well, thank you for these precious moments. I love you, brother. May you have a wonderful holidays and confused, and a Merry Christmas, and happy Kwanzaa, and Pagan Tree Festival,
Hanukkah,
and this, that, and the other thing, and happy winter solstice.
All right, brother. Well, take care, and it's nice to hear from you, and my love to you and the family.
You bet. Apegish mino bimadaziwe wian. Toodles.
All right, see ya. That's cool, ladies and gentlemen. That was Nace calling in and sharing some paranormal and the tribute show that they're putting together. That's really good. I like that. But ladies and gentlemen, we're just about out of time here on the portal. We cruised through a whole 2 hours in the blink of an eye. That's how the time works here. Again, it's a time anomaly. Now remember, there's not going to be any scheduled live streams on YouTube for the next week and a half, essentially. So on the 28th, which is Wednesday, I should be back. And Don, I'm sure, will be here with me, and we'll dive right back into it again. Now we will, there will be the impromptu streams here and there. Watch for those if you're interested in what's going on and what I'm up to. Then make sure to ring the bell so you get notifications. But there'll be a few things going on, but that's too long away. Sorry, John. But you know what the beauty is for all of you portal lovers? There's over 1,300 episodes in our archives right here on YouTube. So if you go and look through the playlist, you're going to find something you love. If that'll tide you over, at least until the next time I can come be with you in person. So I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.